Good morning, everyone. Welcome to there's no session over here. This is just about a strategic measure of how to face your IBDP exams. Okay, we have just left out one day with 4 or 5 days, and as a result of it, we need to look at like how to study well. Okay, or what chapter should we look into it so that I can score well and so on. For a student who actually tries to get a 7, okay, he need not worry about anything. He will be worrying only about, see, I am nearing to high 6, how do I get into 7 at any cost? But for a student who is getting somewhere around 1 and 2, will always be worried about whether I will be able to pass my exam or not. Okay, so I need to look at both of them. So as a result of it, I just made this video thinking like what chapters to be studied, how do I study it, how do I proceed with it. So this is what it is. In fact, but when I do this strategy, it is not to discourage people to say, okay, if I study only this much, okay, it will be sufficient. So it's not like that. But at least one should have a clear-cut strategy how to go with it. So towards it, without wasting much of my time, because I know time is important for you also. So let me start doing with this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let me start with this. Let me share my screen. All right. As you see, this is my screen here. And what I have done is I have looked at unit wise classification, how much marks can a paper have. And in fact, I am not the paper designer, someone else would be designing it. And I thought this is my assumption, okay, over my years of experience in teaching IB or in any other curriculum. Okay, usually if I am asked to design a paper like this, I'm not an examiner also, then what I will do is I will see to it that my portions are being equally divided. Okay, that's what would be my main interest. Okay, power gone over here, but anyway. So this would be my interest, and as a result of this, I just made an Excel sheet, and this Excel sheet shows you something like this: HL separately, SL separately, and so on. Okay, and this column tells you about unit A, B, C, D, E, which is nothing but 5 units over here, and this is for paper 1A, which is for 40 marks, and then you have paper 1B, which is for 20 marks, and then you have paper 2, which is for 90 marks, and IA 24, and finally I'm going to calculate the total. Now I have just assumed something over here. The assumption is that, let us say unit A, okay, usually people who are doing well from the mechanics would generally be an easy topic. Any students, if you take mechanics, would be easy topic. Now out of 40, since there are 5 units over here, I assume there could be around 8 questions, 8 or 9 questions for HL. Okay, so if that is the case, I expect you to solve at least 6 questions correctly. This is only for students who are aiming to get at least a 7. More than 7 is not possible, but you should get a 7. That's what you are looking at. Then definitely you need to have at least, you need to clear or you need to get a correct response for 6 questions. In mechanics, this most of them would be able to do. Okay, this time the new topics which we have are relativity and rotation. Rotation is typically very easier. I have already done a few problems based on rotation. You can look into it. You can get to know, okay, how to solve such kinds of questions. But still, if you have a problem, if you are not able to do it, you can look into my website or maybe into my exemplar questions, and you will be able to understand what kind of questions can be asked. The next unit, unit B, is about thermal physics, okay, radiation and so on. So many times such questions have been asked. You can go for the practice papers and you can look into it. But definitely, if 8 questions have been asked, you should be able to answer at least 7 questions. Okay, then in unit C, waves, one of the most deadly, toughest topics for everyone. Okay, interference and diffraction, when it comes, people don't understand. They have a lot of difficulty in realizing, okay, what happens to intensity, what happens to the wavelength, how do you calculate it, whether should I use d sine theta equal to n lambda or n plus 1 by 2 lambda. So there's a lot of confusion over here. Okay, so this, I presume that some of you might make a mistake. Okay, this is where you may lose a mark over here. In fact, I forgot to tell you, in unit B, you have one more topic. What is it? Electric circuits. Okay, if there are 2 questions asked in electric circuits, there's a very high possibility that both the questions you make a mistake. Okay, so you have to be very careful while answering unit B, especially the electric circuits. Then comes your unit D. You have questions that are related to gravitation, electric field, magnetism, magnetic field, electromagnetic induction, and so on. Most of you do almost every question correctly, except when it comes to electromagnetic induction. When I say magnet comes nearby, goes away, and so on, you might make a mistake over it, right? What is the force which is happening? Application of the Lenz law, making use of this FBI rule or maybe a thumb rule and so on. You might make a mistake. So see to it that okay, you are doing it correctly, okay, and then you can score better here. Unity, I have done 6 marks over here. The only thing which you might face a problem here is in your astrophysics calculations. In fact, astrophysics calculations are very easier, but only thing is you should know what formula to be used where. Okay, if you know this correctly, definitely you will be able to score 8 out of 8 over here. But still, I have put 6 over here. Okay, because we will not be ideal. We have always non-ideal. So what we do is, okay, I have just taken some values like this, and thereby if I total it, it comes out with 32. Okay, out of how much? 40, which means I have the liberty to lose 8 marks over here. Now let us look at this one here, P1B, which is for 20 marks. Of this 20 marks, I expect you to get at least 18 marks. If you get an 18 marks, so definitely you will be able to get a better mark band over here, which is 32 plus 18 comes out to be 50 in paper 1, and this was 60 marks, you will get 50 over here. Okay, so if you consider, for example, 36% of whatever you have over here, according to the IB's marking scheme, you see you get around 30 over here. Okay, see, I have done this one 36. Let me show you the calculation. So I have done here like this, 36 into B10. This is your B10 divided by total mark 60. So I have rounded this and finally I got this is 30. Okay, now let us look at this. Now, paper 2 is for 90 units A. Many of them would be able to do. No issue at all. 14 marks. Okay, but this time there will be questions based on relativity. There will be questions based on rotation. Might be what I presume is that, okay, rotation and mechanics could be joined together, which might come out to be around, let us say, 12 to 14 marks. Okay, so and relativity maybe another 6 to 8 marks. So as a result of it, I can expect something like around you are able to do part of relativity and full of unity, that is your other parts. So you might be able to get 14 marks. That's what I am thinking. So if it is 18 mark question, 18 mark would be divided into 2 questions. You should be able to get 14 marks, because if you are aspiring for grade 7, then your quality should also be up to that mark. It cannot be lesser than that, right? Then unit B, thermal physics. Thermal physics is always easier, but when it comes to circuit theory, that is where you lose. So I assume that there could be an electrical question coupled with the thermal physics. Say for example, how, okay, when I have a heater, okay, it produces some amount of heat that is being used to, okay, heat a bowl of water or something, or maybe heat a certain amount of ice present into it, and as a result of it, what happens, or what is the specific heat and so on. So you might make a mistake when there are questions related to series parallel circuits. You need to understand. Okay, so to solve such kinds of problems, usually problems that are related to something like circuit theory, in circuit theory you will have an equation, you will have a concept, and you will have a graph. Okay, when all the three, most of the time I am observing such kinds of questions, my students are making mistakes. Okay, so it's very difficult, or it's not very difficult until unless you do not understand the concept properly. You might not get full marks over here. Okay, so that's why out of 18, maybe because 5 units, right, 18 marks is 1 unit, so I have considered this to be you are getting only 11 marks over here. Then unit C, waves, the next deadliest topic. But of course, there is one part of the waves is quite easier. Standing waves is easier, Doppler effect is easier. Then what do we have? We have the other part, right? Progressive wave is also easier. But what is tough over here? So what is tough is nothing but whenever you have wave chapter related to what you call the graphs. Okay, what is the phase difference, path difference, time difference? When it comes something like you have a particle which is moving like this at t equal to 0 and it changes, when such kinds of questions comes, you are already having a problem, right? And then unit D, gravitation and electric field, electromagnetic induction, you can still do it. Okay, no issue at all. But still, when you have a problem on electromagnetic induction, you might make a mistake. So I just given 14 over here. Unit E, only problem that you will face as far as I know is problems related to photoelectric effect. Okay, just everything is easy for you. Okay, so therefore, at any cost, whatever you do over here, you should be able to get 65 over here. If you get 65 over here, and IA, okay, for time being, I am just considering 15 only. I am not considering more than that. Okay, probably a HL student where you are doing very good, you might be able to get even 20 also. Okay, if you get 20 here, I have just altered here. If I put 20 here, then what do I get? I get 79 over here. Usually the grade boundaries for IB to get a 7 is around 75. You get 79. So if at all, if you are getting 20 over here, see, by the time you are attempting your exam, you might come to know what could be probably your grade, right, in IA. So if you are getting 20 over here, then what can happen is, so somewhere you can relax somewhere over here. Okay, that is why IA becomes very important to increase your mark. Okay, it's all in your hands. Okay, so let me make it currently only 15. I will not increase this to 20, but if you are getting it, then it's fine. Okay, so this is the best case scenario that you can do for a HL student to get a 7. So that you score a 75, and assuming 75 as a grade boundary, I think that to get a 7, you need this much value. Okay, now let us look at how easy for us for an SL student to get a 7. So as you see, the weightages are the mark bands are like this. You say P1A, that is the first paper, will have MCQs which has 25 marks weightage and 20 marks in the data analysis, and then 50 marks for the second paper, and IA as usual for 24. Total is given here. And now here what I do is, let me see unit A, I will say 3 marks. So you are supposed to get 5 questions in each unit, of which you are going to get only 3 units correctly. Okay, 3 marks correctly, 3 questions correctly. Unit B, mechanics, 3 to 4 you can easily get it across. And mechanics also, okay, out of 5, sorry, this is thermal physics. Okay, mostly thermal physics questions are quite easier for you. It should not be difficult. In fact, here also you might be able to get around 4 also. I am not increasing it, but let me keep it as 3 and 4 only. Okay, 3 and 4. Thermal physics also easy. You don't have much tougher problems. Unit C, waves. Once again the delay. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll just change my marks over here. I'll just keep this as 4 here, and I'll make this as 3. I will keep it as 3. I'll keep it as 2 over here. Okay, if it becomes difficult, that's kind of what can happen. And then unit D. Unit D is completely on electric field, magnetic field. You don't have electromagnetic induction. If you have studied gravitation properly, then all the 3 fields you can easily do it. So I can presume, I can think you can easily get around 4 over here. And unit E, what is unit E? Modern physics, right? Which is about what you call atomic physics, nuclear physics, and you don't have photoelectric effect also. Okay, you don't have quantum mechanics. Very easy to score. In fact, you can put a 4 also here. Okay, you can put a 4 also here. So you can easily get a 76. It should not be difficult. So out of 25, you should be able to get 18 over here. That should not differ. And once again, similar to that of your data analysis that you get over here, if you are an SL student also, okay, and you are aiming for 7, you should get 18 over here. You should not get less than 18. Okay, so therefore, this should come out to be 36, and the final scaling, as such, it is 36% of whatever mark you are getting over here. So I have just done this calculation, and finally, so this has been out of 45, you should get 36. It means you should get only 9 marks less. Okay, if I want, I will make it 10 marks or so. Make this as 35 only. Where did I increase? I increase it over here. I'll make it 3 over here. Okay, so it became 35. Okay, so 10 marks you can lose in paper 1. Okay, including both 1A and 1B. Okay, beyond it you should not lose. That's one important thing. Then paper 2. Paper 2, again, so 50 marks. That means each unit will be only for 10 marks. So out of which the first unit is mechanics. Very easy questions you get. I hope you will be able to answer it properly. Second unit, okay, so I said 8 marks. You should be able to get 8 marks. You should not lose any marks over here. Second unit, thermal physics. Where you lose over here? The electric circuits. Okay, so electric circuits is a key thing. Okay, if you are able to do electric circuits properly, problems in that, we are able to understand, okay, where do you apply your Ohm's law, how does the current branching take place, how does the voltage branching take place, what is the series and parallel circuits, the resistivity, all this, definitely you will be able to do it well. Okay, so you don't have, in fact, this time KVL also you don't have, only KCL you have, and that too it's not mentioned, it's a part of the circuit analysis that you are going to use. And then unit C, waves. Okay, that is always a deadly topic for everyone. But you don't have complex questions in SL. You have almost some of the questions, most of the questions are very easy. You can get this 6, okay, 6 or 5. You can try to get this across. Unit D, which is nothing but waves and gravitation, electric field, magnetic field. You can still get it. No electromagnetic induction. Easily one can get it. If you understand what is this and what is this, okay, you can easily able to get full marks over it. And unit E, modern physics. Again, here also no complex problems over here. You don't have Feynman diagrams. You don't have anything very complex. Very easily you can get a score of 8. Okay, so at any cost, sum of all this, okay, wherever you lose, whatever you gain over here, you should be able to get 36 over here. If you get 36 over here, then 44% of this one, see, 44 into L10 by 50. When I do this one here, I get this as to be 32 over here. 32, 28 over here, and this should be 15. Okay, assuming that you get an 18 here, I have increased this over here. Okay, if I make it this is 15, let me make this as 15 only. Let me make this as 15. If I make this as 15, I think you get 73 over here. That is a bit lesser. I want to come out to be 18. So maybe so this is what 36 over here out of 50. So this has to increase. Maybe you let me keep this as 18 only. Keep this as 18, and as a result of it, you will get a 75. Okay. Now let us move on to, these are for the exceptionally bright students who say, okay, yes, I'm going to conquer that. Okay, fine. Then the next thing is that maybe sometimes, we took physics for granted, and when it comes to examination, we thought we will do well, and suddenly when we are nearing the examination, then we feel it's very difficult here to pass physics. What will I do? So you start panicking. Okay, so when you start panicking, you will get that mindset saying that, okay, I will not be able to do. If I'm not able to do, what will happen? Now, when that panic mode comes, you are entering into a panic mode, you will not be able to further proceed. So what you need to do is somehow you should pat your shoulders and say, yes, I'm going to do it. Okay, whatever comes, at least I'm going to pass. Okay, then comes the rest of them. So let us see, okay, how do you go for the passing level? That's what is very important. Now towards it, now HL, if I take unit A, okay, for 40 marks, so you should expect the same way, like 8 questions which you get. I will assume you are able to do only 4 questions from here correctly. Okay, 4 questions easily you can do it, right? It will be questions based on kinematics, forces, or maybe work energy power, and what else? Rotation. If you take these 4 chapters at least, okay, forget about relativity. Relativity for some students, it's imagining is quite difficult. Okay, so if you take these 4 questions, you should be able to at least get around 6 questions. Okay, in the 6, will you not be able to get 4? You should definitely be able to get 4. If not 4, you should be at least able to get a 3. But when you get a 3, mark will reduce. But let us see. Now let us look at the next one, unit B, thermal physics. Okay, so thermal physics, Wien's law, Stefan's law, emissivity, and what else you have, albedo, and all this you have, right? Okay, excluding your circuit theory. Circuit theory, if you get 2 questions. Okay, I know if you are not studied from the very beginning, it will be very difficult for you. And so let us say you make a mistake in your circuit theory, so 2 marks you lose there. So how much are you getting now? 6 questions you are getting. Out of 6, if you get a 3 questions correctly, you get 3 marks over here. So you can be able to do it. See, don't completely ignore one unit. That's what the main purpose of this is. Okay, so at least study what you know properly. Don't say, hey, I did not study unit B, thermal is very hot, thermal cannot be done. No, you don't do it. But instead, study it. Okay, whatever you have done, go write the exam successfully and come. Then comes your unit C, waves. Okay, deadly topic. Now, what is deadly in unit C? Okay, so the last 2 parts that we have is deadly. Last one part, which one? Interference and diffraction always keeps on confusing each and every one. Okay, but the stationary waves will be 1%. Okay, there are 3 types of there are 3 places where stationary waves place. Waves in a string. Okay, you can create waves in a string. You can create waves in a closed pipe, waves in an open pipe. If you do a set of problems related to it and resonance and other stuff, you will be able to at least get 1 or 2 questions from there. Let me assume from stationary waves chapter you get 1 question. Okay, and Doppler effect you might get 1 question because you are an HL student. Definitely you will get one question there. Okay, and then you have reflection, refraction, dispersion. Prism wala question, or maybe the reflection question, refraction question, echo question, something related to it. Okay, you will get 1 more question. 3 questions done. And then the 4th question could be related to interference diffraction. Okay, now let me keep it aside. And then you have 1 more which is about graphs. You will give something like a graph over there. You will have points A and point B, and they will ask you, okay, what is the phase difference between them? Which state is it vibrating? Lots of questions related to it. Most of the time students make a mistake. Ignore that also. 2 questions gone. Okay, so out of how many? 8 questions in that unit. Okay, at least 3 questions goes away here. You should be able to do rest 3. Okay, don't ignore this unit. Learn what you have already learned in the classroom. Just go through it once again, and I will see to it that by today or tomorrow Okay, what best can be done for the SL students? Okay, what kind of questions? The students who are getting want to just pass. Okay, prepare some worksheets or something, try to solve it and put it as a video, and you can also try it out yourself. I'll put it in my group. I know you know. I hope you know about what is my group. Okay, so I'll just put it in the comment section of this video, so you can look into it. You can join my group, and that will be useful for you. And then unit D. Unit D, what do you have? Gravitation. You might get one question on gravitation. What kind of question? Given something like the masses are located at this point, what is the gravitational field? They might ask you. They might ask you something like 2-3 masses are given over here. You place a point over here. What is the distance from the first mass? So the gravitational field is equal to 0. You might get question like that. Or maybe they will ask you comparison type like question, like for example, at a given point, the gravitational field is equal to so much, and if you double this, okay, the distance if you double, or the mass of the object has been doubled, then what could be the gravitation? They might ask a similar question in potential. They might ask a question on equipotential lines. So like this you can ask, okay, maybe 1 or 2 questions from gravitation, 1 or 2 questions from electricity, electric field and magnetic field, the similar type. Okay, when you study something on gravitation, a similar question can also be done in electric field also. Then comes your magnetic field. Magnetic field, they can use this rule, or maybe this rule, or electromagnetic induction. You can have any number of questions. So what I assume is, let us say if you are not studied electromagnetic induction, you feel very difficult, then what you do is 2 questions are gone there. Then what is that you have? You have around 6 questions. These 6 questions might correspond to, out of this, you will be able to at least do 3 questions. Then comes your unity. What is deadly here? Photoelectric effect. Okay. Many students I found, partial students will find a photoelectric effect, 4 variables. Okay, which one should vary? How should the graph come across? This is one of the biggest problem. So leave that aside. Okay. So what is not possible for you, keep it aside for later on. What is possible for you, look for that. Okay. Master what you can do. Don't worry about what is not possible for you. So based on all this, I have put across the total marks could be around 17 over here. But what is important here is this one, data analysis. See, here I have said people should get around 18, but here I have said at least you should get 12 over here. Okay, I don't expect more than that. If you get more than that, I am very happy. Now, how do you get a 12? Okay, in data analysis, what you do is read or try out from now onwards at least something like 5 to 6 papers on data analysis, which would really be useful for you. Okay, if you do so much, you can really master this, right? Just a moment. Okay, right. So if you do so much, you can easily master it. You can at least 5 papers. Okay, you whether see, I have already put across some videos on data analysis. If you are not aware, if you do not know how to solve problems, what kind of problems will come into, look only at the problems. Okay, and one more thing is that do not look into the videos directly without solving. Take a pen and paper, look at the question, answer it first, and then look at the solution to verify whether your answer and the answer given the video is one and the same. Okay, if you feel not by videos, I will just go a marking scheme, be happy, do it. We want you to pass the exam, okay, at least. Okay, so therefore what you do is you at least do this way, so you should get 12 marks over here. Anything less than 12, you are in the danger zone. Okay, so therefore, because you need to get a 4, you cannot get a 3, you need to get a 4. So this 17 plus 12 will become 29, and then if you take 36% of it, you get around 17 over here. Okay, now let us look at the next one. 90 mark paper, HL. Okay. HL students always have a difficulty in this 90 mark paper. First paper somehow they will manage out. Second paper is a headache. Now in unity, as such I told you about around 18 marks. Okay, you will get in one unit. So in 18 marks, can't you score 8 marks? See, none of these chapters that I have put over here, units I have put over here, none of them are double digits. All of them are single digits only. Especially for waves, I put only 5 marks over here. Okay. So if you total all these units, you should be able to get at least 33 marks. 1/3 is what I expect. If you get 1/3 of this, and let me assume you have not done your IA, or maybe your IA is not up to that quality, and then you are getting only 13 new IA. So most of the time, SL students also do very well, in their IA, but I have taken the least value over here. If you have taken 13 over here, then this will correspond to 11 over here. Summing up all of them, Okay, you will get 44 over here. Oh, sorry, it's a HL. Okay, so if, let me say you have got only 13, and summing up all this, you get a 44. Now 44 or 45 will definitely be a 4. So getting a 4 or 5 in the current curriculum is not at all difficult. Now, what aids you or what supports you to get this one? It is data analysis. Okay, remember, data analysis is a strong point for you. Okay, because you know most of the questions in data analysis will be very similar, provided you understand how to solve it. Okay, context is very important, and at the same time you should know how to solve it. Uncertainty, you should know about it. What is meant by line of best fit, you should know about it. Okay, maybe okay, I will just do one more video if you want. Okay, based on this you can look into it. Okay, as how to solve such kinds of problems. Okay, now comes the SL, the most easiest and the luckiest people in the world. Now SL, see what I have done is, I assume, see, each question will carry 5 marks, or each unit will have 5 marks. I assume you are going to get only 2 questions correct from every unit. Very easily you can get this, I am telling you. So you can get 10 over here, and out of 20 I am saying that you are going to get only 9 here. Okay, if you get more than that I will be very happy, but if you get lesser, you have started with something and still I want you to score at least a 9 here. So 10 plus 9 becomes 19 over here. Okay, and then paper 2. See, here also I am not expecting very much. Each question, each unit here will have only 10 marks, okay, because it's totally 50 marks. So you only get 3, 2, 3, 2 and so on. See, I have not included anything over here. So totally it is 12 here, and then this paper also. So now you add these ones, and finally you see IA 13 I have considered. You will get 36 or 37 over here, which will definitely be equal to okay, 3 over here. So with this, I'm telling you, failing in physics should not happen. Okay, most of the time, 99.99% of the time. So don't lose your hope. The first thing I've seen, people who have, even my class also, some students had failed in my previous years. The students who had failed, when there's something like 4 or 5 days before the exam, they feel, hey, physics is very tough. I did everything my best. Okay, but unfortunately, when it comes to exam, I'm not able to do it. Okay, so I can't do it. The moment you feel I can't do it, you will not be able to do it. Okay, first have that meaning, saying that, so first have that in your mind, saying that you would be able to do it. You can do it. Okay, so if you can do it first and show to the world that okay, even you are able to do it. Okay, so with this, I think I'll stop my detailed lecture. So this is just a strategy that I have told to my students also. I thought of I will share this in this video also. So students who feel physics is very difficult to learn by different methods, some of them pass, some of them feel okay, I can't do it next year, let me try it out something else and so on. Okay, it's not like this. A similar strategy you can work it out for your other subjects also. Okay, if you want, I can just put in this Excel sheet in the group. You can download it, you can change the formula, you can change the weightage, you can do whatever you want, and finally try to get better marks. Okay, thank you. So if you are not subscribed to my channel, do share and subscribe to my channel so that the YouTube algorithm recognizes me, and I would like to keep this channel free forever. And to this, okay, so I also see to it that some monetization has been happening, and I want you people to help me out in this. Thank you.